I'm Jonny Smith.
I'm Richard Porter. Together we're Smith and Sniff, and we're here after hours in the First Glance paddock.
Yeah, we've had to wait for everyone to go home basically because it's been so busy.
So busy.
Let's glance over here first of all. This is the Alpine A290, and this is the production finished Alpine A290. So Renault 5 came out, and very exciting car it is too, fully electric. This is Alpine's first electric car, and this is a hotter version of that hot hatch Renault 5.
Yeah.
What I like about this, first and foremost, is the fact that they've taken some Alpine hallmarks, like those sort of like nostril rally lights from the A110, there's one over there. And they've made a little focal point of this. You said earlier, I love the fact that it's a wider track car.
6 centimetres wider. They're not mucking around here compared to the standard 5. What I think that means is great Renault Sport hot hatchbacks, the Clio Williams, the 5 GT Turbo, they always feel like the nose is nailed down. The rest of the car kind of pivots around it. So you think if they've widened the track, maybe that's what they're chasing. We don't know yet, but what they have said is for things like the way the steering feels, the way the brakes feel, they've benchmarked it against the A110 mid-engine sports car. So that's promising.
It's pretty cool. It does use a couple of actual components from the A110, not that many.
Is one of them a steering wheel?
Actually, that's a good question. I don't know.
I was told that the steering wheel is not the same as in the 5. It is a bespoke Alpine wheel.
It is a bespoke Alpine wheel, and it has a little overboost button, which allows you to have like 10 seconds of like overtake. It's called an OV button. It's called overtaking
vans.
I can't remember. They did tell me in Paris when I first saw this car a few months back. But the cool thing about it is it's only got the bigger battery. The Renault 5 comes with 2 batteries. This takes the bigger battery. I think it's just over 210 horsepower, is it?
It's 2 power outputs, actually. This is a range, so you can have, I think, 178 or 215 horsepower.
Yeah.
I think this has got great promise.
I think it's got good promise because of the Renault Sport kind of heritage. The thing I want to draw your attention to here, because obviously the styling's different from the Renault 5. It's got a different body kit, obviously that broader track. Some very interesting snowflakey wheels that look like BMW M Sport wheels. That's a compliment. Here on the side here, if you remember the mid-engine mad 80s Renault 5 Turbo 2, where they had air intakes here because the engine was in the middle. This doesn't have an engine in the middle, it's front-wheel drive, front motor. But that's where I think this is sort of paying homage to. Now, just like the Renault 5, it's got independent rear suspension, which is actually quite unusual for a car of this size and segment. They haven't confirmed it officially, but I reckon, you can quote me on this one day, I think they're going to do a twin motor version, so in other words, an all-wheel drive version of this car. It's great. They're doing really good things at the moment, Renault.
Jonny, before we move on from this part of the paddock, can we just mention Honky are here.
Indeed.
From China.
Yeah.
You may not have heard of them. They are actually China's oldest passenger car manufacturer. You can't buy these in this country at the moment. That one, if you live in the Netherlands, you can have one. It's about 80,000 euros.
For sure.
They are going to come to the UK at some point. 2025 has been mentioned. In the meantime, this is just to whet our appetites. They've come here to Goodwood Festival of Speed to sort of gauge interest, I guess. Honky means red flag, as in the symbol of China, rather than a reason not to go on a date with somebody.
And this is one of several Chinese brands taking this show really seriously.
MG, they're sponsoring the Festival of Speed this year. You may have seen the big thing in front of the house.
Sculpture.
Yeah. Up there, along with an old MGB, is one of these, the new Cyberster.
Cybertruck.
Two-seater roadster, engineered in China but styled in London, England, where MG have a design studio. Yep. This, we saw it last year at Festival of Speed. It is now perilously close to being on our streets. Yep. There are 2 versions. There's a rear-wheel drive one and a 4-wheel drive one. If you go for the 4-wheel drive one, it has 2 motors, one at each end, 503 horsepower and 0 to 62 in 3.2 seconds. So it's brisk.
Yeah. It's a cool piece of work. I'm looking forward to driving this. It's kind of like an affordable Tesla Roadster that's coming out
that you can actually buy.
That you can actually buy.
Yeah, that's the crucial bit.
But
however,
under the MG tarpaulin, the beautiful tailored tarp over here. Let's just.
We are here after hours, but we're going to do this because no one can stop us.
Let's tug this off for a second, because this is a car that wasn't at the Festival of Speed last year. This is the MG Cybertruck Coupe. Because look, it's got a hardtop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think there's any word of this actually going to production yet.
No, officially it's a concept, but at one point so was that, and you're about to be able to buy it for £55,000 or £60,000, depending on version. So there's a good chance, I reckon, we'll see this.
Well, that's what we're seeing with Chinese brands. They go from kind of idea to concept to reality really, really fast. That is the modern way of cars. Anyway, let's re-top this before a security guard gives us a good shoeing. There we go, look, love it. So, I do like a
It's like putting a fitted sheet on.
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful, although that mirror's wonky. Hang on. I've just noticed, the Duke, sweet guy, only allows vacuum cleaners with his name on to be on the premises. He's having none of
True
those.
fact. Right, let's go up here. Bentley are here with a very updated Continental GT. This is the GTC Cabrio. There's a coupe over there, both of them in this fabulous 1970s bathroom colour.
I love it.
Now, the sad news is the W12 engine is no more. Boo hiss. But the twin-turbo V8, which we've already been able to have in this car, is still here, only now it's connected to a hybrid system, a plug-in as well, 771 horsepower.
Yes. So you've got a 4-litre V8 under there with 2 turbos. And then back here, I think just behind the back axle, near this beautiful high-creased haunch, which I do really like, it's 25.9 kilowatt hours of batteries. And also it allows you to do 50 miles of EV range only if you wish. And then, like you say, when you combine the two, you get all hell. When it the torque is over 700 pounds-feet, I believe.
Yes, yes, yes.
Which is an awful lot of torque.
Awful lot. Now, you'll notice a few cosmetic changes. The lights have sort of bled out here. The backlights are a little bit bigger. I think it's fair to say that the Continental GT, which has been around with us for, more than 20 years now, is one of those cars that just seems to get a little bit nicer and better with every generation. So this should be really very nice indeed.
We've said this before, but I think that in the last 5 years, it's properly appeared on my radar as a genuinely desirable car.
You have a radar?
Hey?
What are you doing with it?
Oh, yeah, I've got a radar.
Okay.
It's much more discreet than that. Much more discreet than that.
One thing they have carried over from the old model, I'd forgotten that Bentley do this, they've slightly cribbed it off Rolls-Royce, but it's a nice touch. Weighted wheel centre badges. Nice. We are here after hours, so some of the cars are covered up, but we wanted to show you this one, which is
Honda's Prelude.
Prelude. Let's have a little look at it. Now this, officially, is still a concept.
It says it there.
Yes, a concept with legally compliant door mirrors and wipers and road car tyres. So you've got a good sense that this is going into production very, very soon. Unfortunately, at the moment, because it's a concept, Honda haven't released any details. So as far as we know, it's based on the Civic. The engine is a 2.0 with a hybrid system. They're not even allowing us to see the interior. Look, they've completely blacked the glass in.
Although someone from Honda did say to me it has a fully functional interior and they're just not allowed to show it, which means this car is almost certainly going to become a reality.
Yeah.
Behind you is the original 70s Prelude, and I think the last Prelude went out of production 20 years ago. But it's really exciting to see that Honda are actually bringing back an old name and it's still being the same genre of car that it went out as, which is a 2-door coupe.
So I think for now a concept, but if you want to see it in the showrooms, all you have to do is believe.
Believe, yeah.
The electrification of Lotus continues apace. This is the Emeya, their new sort of Taycan rivaling saloon. If you go for this R, the top one, you get 905 horsepower, a range of just over 300 miles. You'll pay £130,000 for it. Do you know why it's called the Emeya?
I actually don't know.
Do you want to know?
Yes.
Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't say
That's why I'm here.
It's not interesting. It's inspired by EMEA, Europe, Middle East and Asia. Those are some of the markets they'd like to sell the car in.
And that's it?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Throughout America.
That's why you tune in, everybody.
Yeah.
For that.
Fascinating facts. Moving on. Polestar. They started with the Polestar 1 and then the Polestar 2 we're probably all familiar with. Now the 3 is here, sort of SUV-ish thing over there, and the 4 here, controversially with no back window.
Yeah.
The 5 is on its way, big saloon, and then there's this. It was called the Precept concept. Now after Polestars 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, guess what this is called? That's right.
Yes. It's on the bonnet, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the Polestar 6. It's a sports car with no roof.
Yeah. Do you know what? These sort of like this hardtop kind of buttress thing, it really reminds me from certain angles of the Jag F-Type Project 7.
Oh.
But obviously bigger.
Yes.
I don't know whether it's going to be a 2+2 or not, because this is obviously a concept car. But this is over 800 horsepowers, 800 volt architecture, double motor, so four-wheel drive.
Yep.
Similar layout to the existing Polestars with that huge kind of floating portrait tablet thing. Made in China.
Will be made in China.
Yep.
Officially a concept, but this is going into production. They're not pretending otherwise. Made in China alongside the 5. And what's not so well known about Polestar is that although many of their cars are made in China, a lot of their engineering is done right here in the UK.
Yeah. Now, is it Polestar or Polestar?
Polestar.
Polestar?
Like the 70s fabric.
So this year it's the 45th birthday of the Geländewagen, Mercedes' iconic G-Wagon. But this is probably the biggest departure that we've seen in many, many years, because this is the first fully electric G-Wagon. It's not called the GEV or the EVG, because that would be really catchy. It's called the... Richard?
Hi.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry, couldn't see you from back here.
What's it called?
It's called the G580 with EQ technology.
Yeah, really rolls off the tongue. But I'm really fascinated by this because it promises to possibly be the best off-road capability of any G-Wagon, because the great thing about electric cars, they've got maximum torque from 0 RPM, they're really good at creeping over things, and you can actually hear and see things that you can't normally when there's an engine running. But Mercedes have intentionally made sure this car cannot outgun the AMG, the piston V8 AMG version, because that's still their flagship car, and it probably makes them more profit. So
Do you know two slightly interesting details about this car?
Go on.
Spare wheel holder on the tailgate.
Oh,
Not a spare wheel holder.
Yes.
It's got the charging cables in it.
yeah. Another funny thing, it's not funny, it's just interesting and geeky. Up there you can see it. See that?
Yes.
That's an aerodynamic aid that Mercedes say makes a massive difference. That,
Okay.
and the little cutout notch on this wing here, and there, and there's a little air pocket here on the rear wing, and there's a little blue line which doesn't make any difference, it just tells people that it's electric, and then there's a front grille difference here.
Ah,
Sort of blanked in, but not quite.
that's my other slightly interesting thing.
Oh,
That won't be on the UK cars. This is a German car. In the UK, it's going to get the grille the same as every other G-Wagon, so it'll be a little more stealthy for some reason or other.
okay.
Bye.
Did you just fall down?
Yes.
Let's have a game of CSI tarpaulin. Can you possibly guess what Tesla have brought to the Festival of Speed and it's sitting under the sheet?
I simply don't know. Perhaps we never will.
If you had a gun to my head, I still wouldn't be able to guess.
Well, if you drive one of these, you probably have got a gun. So, let's move on to the Ford Capri.
I know.
Ooh, controversial.
Extremely controversial. So the Festival of Speed is the place where Ford have decided, after nearly 40 years, to resurrect and bring back, in their words, not mine, the legend.
Yes.
Okay. And remember, everybody, the Capri was the European Mustang, right?
Sort of.
It
The way
was.
that Cliff Richard is the European Elvis. Sort
But
of.
the thing is, the Mustang was always a muscle car coupe, all right? And then when Ford brought out the Mach-E,
Yes.
it was an electric SUV family car, but they'd never taken away the Mustang. Ford took away our Capri.
Yeah, well, I mean, in fairness, because nobody was buying it. In fact, they stopped making it for Europe in 1984. It was made only for the UK and Ireland for the last 2 years of its life. And then it was deeply unfashionable and a laughingstock, and it went away.
Yes, but
These are the facts.
Yes, but as long as I've been a motoring journalist, and 10 years more than that, we have been promised the return of the Capri. And now it's back, and I actually think that it's a fairly interesting car in certain design aspects, but I'm deeply offended by them calling it that when we don't actually have a car that's anywhere near what the old car was to play with as well. If they brought out a coupe and it was sat here now and you go, you can have a Capri or you can have a Capri E.
How many people buy coupes these days?
We've just seen the Honda Prelude, and the Honda Prelude's been really popular at the Festival of Speed, and I'm really excited about it, and so are hundreds of other people. Thousands, tens of thousands of other
dozens,
people.
a few.
All right.
A bloke called Dave we met yesterday.
Toyota make really cool coupes.
Look, here's the thing. The Capri is Ford's name, they can put it on what they damn well please. And the fact that coupes don't really sell anymore, and unfortunately, whether you like it or not, electric SUVs like this do, they can put the name on it if they want, because people who aren't car nerds recognise the name. It costs millions to get people to recognise names. They've shortcut that. The tabloid newspapers will go, oh, the Capri's back. They won't think to question it. I think Ford have been very clever, and I don't care what car bores say. So there.
Well, I don't think Ford have been clever, but it's based upon the Volkswagen ID4 architecture, so it's VW's electric underpinnings,
Yes.
essentially. Up to 390-mile range. It's going to be 3 battery sizes to choose from, 2 or 3 power outputs. It's going to start at 48,000 quid, which is actually an enormous amount of money, I think.
It's confusingly more than the Mustang Mach-E in the UK.
Which is a bigger, I think, more premium car.
Who knows? Only Ford understand what they're doing.
Ford are quite strange at the moment, I think.
Well, you know, they're doing their best. Anyway, whether you like the idea of the Capri name on this or not, come and have a look at it in the first glance paddock. But that's all from us for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.